Hello, colleagues. It is Isis Fernandez here, and I am doing this quick video because I keep telling everyone about this really great video, insert questions in video website called Edpuzzle, but it's really hard to get us all together. So I wanted to go ahead and take this opportunity to do a quick video training on this wonderful thing we like to call Edpuzzle, or as I like to call, please help my students do well on grammar. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at a couple of things here. So Edpuzzle is literally a website that allows you to insert questions, whether it's open-ended questions, multiple choice questions, or comments, or even voice notes or memos onto any video on YouTube or any video that you create. So that is pretty cool. You can actually take then that video and embed it onto D2L, and you can literally create your own little mini module on anything. So what we have here, I wanted to show you how I use it here before I actually show you the website here. This is how I'm using it. This is the first time I'm actually using it this semester. The first time I've used Edpuzzle was over the summer because I wanted to see how it worked with my students over the summer, and I really liked the way it worked. I'm tweaking a couple of things to make it a little bit more streamlined, but I really like the way it worked. So we're using it for the first time here in Fragments after our conversation at the meeting with DS professors and 1301 professors. I really wanted for my DS colleagues to have another data point. I think the more data that you can collect on something, the better decisions you can make on something going forward. So I wanted to give them another data point that they can see how, see the effectiveness of the lessons that they have done, see how their students are doing in my classroom. And so this is what I wanted to do for them. So this is a lesson on fragments. So last week, the co-recs did lessons on fragments, and so I wanted to check to see how well they're doing. And of course, this I will be sharing with my colleagues in DS. So what I have here is literally an introduction for my students saying to access this part of the lesson, you're going to need to go to edpuzzle.com and literally sign up. So I actually have my students sign up for Edpuzzle, and there's a couple of ways to sign up for or to access this lesson through Edpuzzle, and I'll show you that here in a minute. I also give them the code that they would need to get into their classroom on Edpuzzle, and I have that in quotations. Just imagine me doing air quotes. And I also tell them to use their correct name in Edpuzzle because they sign up, and so our students, our wonderful, beautiful students, tend to be creative with new names, and so I want them to use the name that's on the roll so I can match them up. And I also have a video on how to sign into their Edpuzzle just for students. So let me show you what I do. So I have the actual video lesson from Edpuzzle here, and so they watch this video. Then they go on to quizzes, which is like Kahoot, but not, to do a practice. And I can actually talk about quizzes here a little bit later. And then they actually do a quiz for grade. So I use Edpuzzle as a formative assessment. You can use it as a summative assessment as if you would like, because Edpuzzle grades your students' questions for you. Unless, of course, it's an open-ended question, then you grade that question and then it will give a grade for the video. So let's click on this, and I want to show you what it looks like here. So whenever you are a student, you will get this wonderful thing, and it says you are blocked on your browser. You should have cookies enabled to use Edpuzzle. it will fix itself essentially when they actually log in. So they could log in, students can log in using an Edpuzzle account, which they can sign up for on the Edpuzzle site. They can log in using their Google account, and most of them have an actual Gmail account or use Google Drive on their computers, on the sim computers that they're going to use to access this lesson anyway. So they just literally click on that and magic happens and they are signed in. Or you can log in with an Edmundo account. I have not used Edmundo. I have heard the good things about it. I have not used that resource yet, so I can't tell you how wonderful that is or not. But I will be tapping into it very soon, so I will tell you and probably do another video if I think it's interesting. So 3 ways to sign in. There may be some, you may have some students who use this in high school. I would not doubt that, so they may already have either an Edpuzzle or Edmundo account. Or they have a Google account and they can sign in. So what I usually like to do is tell my students to go to the actual honest-to-goodness Edpuzzle account. And actually, I want to start at the beginning because I want to show you what it looks like. So this is the actual front page of Edpuzzle. They go to Edpuzzle and students will hit sign up, and they'll sign up as a student. And they'll sign up with an Edpuzzle account, and that wonderful code that you gave them in D2L, that's where they'll put it. They'll put it right here. They'll create their account, and off they go to the races. For teachers, I already have an account, so I'm just logging in as a teacher. You just click here. I log in with my Google account because everything gets tied to Google eventually, and here we are at the races. So this is my front page to my Edpuzzle account. And there's a lot of information that they give you here. So let me kind of show you around. I started again with Edpuzzle during the summer, so I just have my regular English 1301 here, and I put both of my sections of 1301 under one, which will be the last time I put more than one section in one classroom, which is the first thing I adjusted from summer to fall. But this is pretty much summer and me kind of figuring it out and seeing how it works. Obviously we use it in the Howler because sometimes you just have to refresh yourself on where to put the comma and what to capitalize. So the Howler uses this as well. So right here, what we have is English 1301. This is my summer class again, like I said. And these are the lessons that I gave over the summer, over the 6 weeks of the summer. So that setup that you saw in my D2L with the lesson, then the quizzes, which is a review, and then an actual quiz that's for a grade. That's how I set it up. So I'll have one step that has all 3 steps, mini steps in that one step, and so I have it to where it's all contained there. Here you can actually see students and see how they've done here. I'll take the first one. Or actually you can't see how they've done. You just have the general student list. These are all the students who were in my class in the summer. Right? And then you have actual lessons. So let's click on one because I want you to see kind of what it looks like. So this is what it looks like when you have a bunch of students doing the lesson. It'll tell you how many answers you have to grade. And when it says answers you have to grade, this is open-ended questions. Questions that Edpuzzle did not grade. So these are open-ended. Pretty much I looked at them to see if they were on the right track. Since I used this as a formative assessment, it wasn't something that I was wanting to record for their grade. So I just wanted to see how they were doing in pronoun antecedent agreement. So we can see here this particular student, how they did by clicking here. Before we go here, I want to show you a couple of things. You can share the assignment, and I'll teach you how to do this, or the other roundabout way. You can reset all answers and have them do it again should they need a refresher. And you can delete the assignment if you need to delete the assignment, just because you only have a limited amount of space here. If you click on your little face when you have your own account, you can see how much storage is used. And I've used 9 out of 20. So obviously I will be deleting things because storage. Okay, so let's click on the first student here. And so you'll have a lot of information when students take their quiz on Edpuzzle. So you'll see that they watched 100% of the video. They answered 4 out of 6 questions correctly. Um, so what you also have here, though, is which questions they answered correctly and which ones they didn't. So we know that this particular student didn't answer this one correctly, but they answered the next one correctly. So you have a list of the questions and how they did, very similar to D2L and the quizzes. You have the open-ended questions. This is one of them. I actually had them to have them give me the correct example of a sentence with a pronoun antecedent. So I usually just look and check, and if they did it right, I move on to the next student. If they didn't do it right, then I would actually email the student. So that's how I kind of kept track of my students to see how they were doing grammatically. So you have a lot of information here. You know that this particular student spent 4 minutes on the actual lesson. You know when they turned it in, and you know what they got right and what they got wrong. So this is really good information to know how they're doing. You can do this with the next student and see what they're doing. Yes, they spent 4 minutes on it. That means they probably watched it only once because the actual video is 4 minutes. They're able to watch the video again if they need to, or rewind to understand the part of the video that they need to understand before answering the question. So we have a lot of information. Edpuzzle does give you lots of information. So you're probably wondering, my friends, where I get all these videos, right? Edpuzzle, wonderful thing where you can actually put questions inside of a video. So these are my videos here, and the content that I've been looking at and using with my students. And you have a couple of options here. You can add content, which is your own particular video. So I can actually see outside of the realm of 1301, actually using this in 1302, or even actually using this for reading comprehension and how to take notes on a piece of literature or on an essay to understand the writing. So I can see using this for that. You also have lots of popular channels. Edpuzzle has their own videos. Of course, you have all of YouTube and wonderfulness. You also have Khan Academy, which is what I like to use, that has all the things. National Geographic TED Talks. TED Talks are obviously amazing. So every TED Talk, live and manageable, is on here, so you can actually insert questions in those TED Talks as well. Just an aside, I realized that there was a Lone Star College Kingwood kind of content area, but I did not create this, and I'm the only teacher in here. I will take total credit for creating things that I did, but this is not one of them. So I just joined this. So apparently this was created by someone at Kingwood and then abandoned. So it'd be great to have some of my colleagues on here so we could, and I'm assuming, again, I have not used this part of the website, that we would be able to share videos and content with each other easily. So let's go here to let's go to Khan Academy, and I'm going to show you how to put some questions in your video. So let's go to subject-verb agreement, because that's something our wonderful babies need help with, right? Subject-verb agreement. And so I have lots of choices to use. There's the fragment one that I'm using this week. There's pronoun antecedent that I've used before. Phrases and clauses, introduction to verbs, helping verbs, all the great stuff, right? But I specifically want subject-verb agreement. So I'm going to click on subject-verb agreement, or I'm going to hover over subject-verb agreement, and there are three icons. There's the edit icon, which allows me to put the questions in the video. There's the watch icon, which allows me to kind of watch the video to see if that's what I want to use. And then the copy video, and this actually copies it to my content. I'm going to click on the watch one to make sure that this is the correct video I want to watch. So the video will come up, and you'll click on play. Okay. So let's pretend I've listened to this and I say, yes, this is what I want to use with my students. I think this is very helpful. I think this will make them write beautiful sentences with subjects and verbs that agree and save my gray hairs for something else. Okay, so what you want to do is that you want to edit. So there's a big blue button here that says edit. You can click on edit. Copy to my content literally puts it in your content, which means you're literally saving the video. You're not adding anything to it. You're just saving it. Maybe you're looking for videos and you're trying to plan future lessons. So you just go do a search for what you need, copy the videos to your content, and then you'll put the questions in the video. So let's say this is a video you want to use. We'll hit edit. Big blue button. And you've got a couple of wonderful options here. You can crop the video, and cropping the video means you move these red flags anywhere you want. Maybe you make it only 2 minutes instead of the 4 minutes that this video is, or you just want that one section, and so you just crop the video, and that's what you put on D2L, or what you use with your students. There's the voiceover and the audio notes. I have not used this feature because it is a video with lots of audio in it, but I imagine that you would be able to add something through voiceover or audio notes. I would assume this is what you would want to use with your own video if you have a presentation that you want to put voiceover. Maybe it's a PowerPoint presentation or a Keynote or Google Slides, and you want to put a voiceover to it. I think you can probably upload it to YouTube and do a voiceover over it. So that's an option. Audio notes just adds information to what's on the screen. I like quizzes, so this big green button I will click. And this wonderful button allows you to put questions anywhere you want. It'll create this, I like to call it the greenhouse of questions. So this greenhouse of questions allows you to put the question anywhere you want. You can drag it, or you can listen. And you can, once you're in your section here, or where you want to put the question, you can click on the actual question mark. And on the side here will come a dialog box. And the dialog box will have three little tabs here. You will have an actual question, which is an open-ended question, which you get to look at later on for your edification. Then you have the multiple choice option here, and here you can do several things with this. You can actually have 3 choices because you can add an answer here. You can do a true false type of statements on here as well. So you can add that here, and or you can actually write a comment here. So what I like to do with this particular tab is that at the beginning of every video, I like to write kind of an introduction, kind of introduce the lesson to the student, remind them to watch the entire video all the way to the end because there may be questions at the end that they miss. So they want to watch it all the way to the end. Remind them that they could rewind the video and watch a section of the video if they need to remind themselves of it before answering questions. So I love these three tabs here. I particularly love this multiple choice thing right here because you can literally test their skill. So if it's subject verb agreement and you want to test if they're listening, one of the things that it says in the video is the whole purpose of subject verb agreement is to make sure that your subject and your verb get along. So you can do a true or false question. The purpose of subject verb agreement is for your subject and your verb to get along, true or false. And you can test that to see if they're listening. And you can make your questions a little bit more complex. I tend to make them a little bit more complex as they go along in the video. So I'll say something like, does the subject and the verb agree in this sentence? Yes or no? Or how would you fix this sentence so the subject and the verb agree? And I would give them 3 options. You can have more than one question in the video by clicking the plus sign here. So you can, there's no limit to how many questions. I personally would not do 30 questions in a video. I would do a couple with every stop along the way. It depends on how many questions and if you want them to have that option of having more questions for a deeper understanding of the material. So once you are done here, and let me just write something here so that way I can show you how this works. Okay, hello, let me do this. Hello, hello Adele, love that song. Okay, so I'm gonna hit save and say that's my question. I'm gonna hit save, and then I'm gonna get this wonderful dialog box that says you cannot answer while creating a lesson. Obviously, that's cool. You're gonna hit the big blue button called continue, and the video keeps going. And so you can then add another couple questions as the video continues. But let's say we're done with the video. We're not gonna add anything else. We're gonna hit finish here. Another big blue button. The buttons are always big and they're always a colors on this. So you will hit finish, and then you will see that you can assign things to a class. So I can assign it to all 3 of my English 1301s for the semester. I can set a due date, another big blue button, right? And so I can select a specific time. I can delete it and make sure it starts on where I want it to start. For this semester, our modules begin on Tuesday and they end the following Monday. So I can set it for Tuesday through Monday. I can say when it's due, and it's due by 11:59 p.m. Everything is due 11:59 p.m. in my world. Oops. All right, 25th, 1st, and make sure the hours are here. I hope you can see this. See the bottom of this. Okay, and then PM, and then I can hit save, and it will save it, right? And then I assign it to my class. I'll hit assign, and it'll show up. I also have a little tab here that prevents them from skipping the video here. All right. So that's pretty much Edpuzzle. Lots of great information. Let's go to my classes here. I, again, separated all 3 of my sections into 1301. My 3 1301 sections into 3 classrooms. I learned that from the summer to keep them separate so I know how a particular class is doing. And I can actually try my best, or as another way, I guess, of keeping an eye on the students who need more help, and kind of give them, put a bee in their bonnet that maybe they should visit the tutoring lab a little bit more often, or maybe they should watch the video again, or maybe look at the resources in the book that we have, or talk to their wonderful co-rec professor, if they are indeed in co-rec. So that's Edpuzzle for you. I hope it wasn't too terribly long. I tend to ramble, so I'm going to be quiet now and very zen and grade my papers. I hope this is helpful, and let me know if I can help in any way.